Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here with another day of tech greats from all your favorites. And you might be thinking, whatever happened to that awesome Sam guy? Well, I can assure you that Sam is still around and ready to step in and serve when needed. But I gotta tell you, talking to you is the favorite part of my workday, and Sam's gonna need to pry the daily from me with force. You'll hear from him again, though, never fear. But for now, you're stuck with me. It is May 7th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. Google I/O has arrived, and I'm still having trouble coming to grips with the fact that it's already May. We've got a big day ahead of us, and it all starts about 30 minutes after I push the publish button on this podcast, because of course it does. Actually, I'm publishing this podcast about half an hour early so you can listen to it and then get on with the Google I/O goodies. This is also my shameless self-promotion section where I mentioned that we'll be taking a deep dive into Google I/O tonight on the Android Authority podcast, so subscribe over there too, would ya? Link in the show notes. So, what do we expect to see today? Well, let's start off with phones, and honestly, there's not much to say here except that we'll see a Pixel 3a and a Pixel 3 Welcome to the Jungle. Those are basically plastic versions of the premium counterparts for half the price. There are other differences, a lower grade processor, base storage is only 64 gigabytes, but in terms of camera, these phones should have all the goodies, which is saying a lot, but what else does Santa Google have in his bag? Well, we expect to see a Google Home Hub Max, which is an admittedly awkward name, but not particularly bad. Anyway, we've seen leaks about this device already, which suggests that it will be a 10-inch version of the Google Home Hub, but will include a built-in Nest Cam so Google can spy on you visually, too. Oh, and it can also notify you of movement, and you can spy on your babysitter, but today we're going to find out pricing and availability. Maybe. My guess, $250 and fall, because those would both disappoint me. Naturally, we'll hear about Android Q today. We've already seen a couple of betas roll out so far, and we like what we're seeing. We've done a couple of podcasts about Android Q over on the Android Authority podcast, and did I mention that other podcast again? How silly of me. Link in the show notes. But today, we expect to go in depth with Android Q and maybe see some nifty new features that Google hasn't shown us yet. And speaking of new features from Google, it's probably about time that we got an update from Google Stadia, and I suspect if we don't, that doesn't bode well for Google Stadia. We don't know about price or included games or new developers on board. There's still a lot we don't know about Google's cloud gaming service. And speaking of the cloud, we expect to learn a lot more about AI. God, they will never shut up about AI. And perhaps Google Assistant will pick up some new tricks. Remember, it was this time last year that we were introduced to Google Duplex, and the internet lost its mind and then kind of got paranoid. Maybe we'll see more from Google Lens and Google Photos, considering the camera will be the premium selling point on the Google Pixel 3 and the Google Pixel 3 November Rain. It wouldn't surprise me to see more software enhancements coming to a Pixel camera near you. But you know what? Google I/O is coming later, but let's talk about what's already happened in our roundup. The Google Play Awards are here. These are awards chosen by Google Play editors in a number of categories. From what I recall of last year's awards, they were basically just top sellers in a number of categories, which wasn't all that exciting. This year it looks like Google has actually put some thought into it, which is nice. I use Canva every now and then, so it's nice to see that one get an award. The rest are, well, much like the Academy Awards and the Grammys, the rest are things that I've never heard of and will probably never use, but far be it for me to yuck someone else's yum, so check out the list from the link in the show notes. Drivers from Uber and Lyft are planning a strike tomorrow to protest Uber's IPO. At issue is the fact that drivers are treated as independent contractors and as such don't get benefits. According to The Verge, via Android Authority, drivers are demanding, quote, fewer driver deactivations, an end to upfront pricing, and a cap on the per-fare commission taken by ride-hail companies. I honestly don't know what any of that means, except perhaps the last one. Whatever the case, the protest is scheduled for Wednesday morning between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., which will suck for people trying to get to real jobs, so nice going, I guess. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, sat down for an interview with Wired during its Build conference this week. One topic broached during the interview was the end of the talented jerk era, but don't worry, this podcast isn't going anywhere. Basically, what Nadella is saying is that just because you're good doesn't mean you're going to get away with stuff at Microsoft, which is admirable to say, but more admirable to actually put into practice. Live demos are hard, and in retrospect, it's somewhat amazing that more don't fail. But sure enough, kicking off Microsoft Build 2019, Microsoft scheduled a live demo of its flagship mixed reality headset, HoloLens. What we were supposed to see was a demo of the Apollo 11 moon landing, but instead what we got was Apollo 13, a disaster. The demo just straight up failed, but like Apollo 13, we're going to call this one a successful failure because Microsoft posted the dress rehearsal video to YouTube, and it is pretty freaking sweet. Vice wrote a scathing piece about Apple's Airpods and how they're built with cheap labor for rich people and never biodegrade, and how only people with disposable wealth will wear them because they get easily lost, and then you need more disposable wealth to replace them, and they only last for 18 months before the batteries are toast, and blah, 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 blah. Vice, look, you don't need 5,000 words about why they're terrible. I gotcha, boo. Everyone ready? They sound like crap and make you look like a moron. There, done. And finally, the Galaxy Fold is taking a long time to fix, not surprisingly. We chronicled the problems it was having in past episodes, but an email was recently sent out to pre-orderers which said, "Thanks for wanting to buy our $2,000 phone. It's going to be a while before we can ship this and it doesn't break, so until then, we're not going to take your money. Oh, and if we don't hear back from you by the end of the month and we haven't shipped it by then, we're going to assume you don't want it anymore." I mean, wow, there's some real messaging going on there. Not really sure what to make of that, except apparently it's going to be a while. Good luck and Godspeed, Samsung. But that is going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.